Hello everyone and welcome back to Family Life Builders TV, where we're building homes and transforming society. My name is Tosin Opeoluwa and I am a transformational coach. Today I'm going to be bringing to you, as promised, my mentor, and he's going to be sharing with us how to mentor our boys into men. If you're watching us for the first time, I want to say welcome. And so for some of you who will be watching the replay, I want to say welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. So today I'm going to be bringing you our Professor Azeez Butali. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tosin, for inviting me. And thanks to our viewers and to everyone from around the world watching this. I hope we're going to have a good time.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you coming. We did not take this for granted. So we really want to say thank you. Before we start, I'm going to be reading the book because his bow is very, very loaded. He's a man of accomplishments. So if I start reading, I'll just be drinking water. So we have to play his bow and let's listen together.
Azeez Butali is a professor at the College of Dentistry, University of Iowa. He graduated as a dentist from the College of Medicine, University of Lagos in 2000 and obtained his PhD in genetics epidemiology in 2010 before proceeding for his postdoctoral training in craniofacial genetics at the University of Iowa. In 2016, he obtained a certificate in genetics and genomics at Stanford University. He currently serves as PI of the Butali Laboratory, Director, African Craniofacial Anomalies Network, Director, College of Dentistry Biorepository, University of Iowa, and Director, Massive Open Online Course for Topics in Human Genetics. His lab discovered the CTN-NA2 and SALT2A as cleft palate candidate genes. He is a reviewer for 25 international peer-reviewed journals, NIH Genetics of Human Disease Studies Section, National Science Foundation of Poland, Swiss National Science Foundation, Wellcome Trust, and South Africa's National Research Foundation. Professor Butali has received many national and international awards. These awards include being named as a recipient of the Dental Scientist Career Development Award by the NIDCR in 2012, and the first dentist to receive the Harold Amos Scholar Award, which was exclusively for medical doctors for 25 years. He is a member of the Smile Train Research and Innovations Advisory Council, member nominating committee of the American Society of Human Genetics, and sits on the board of Suicide Research and Prevention in Nigeria, and Almost Girls STEM in Nigeria. He is a member of the American Association for Dental Research, International Association for Dental Research, American Society for Human Genetics, American Academy of Science, and the American Cleft Palate Association. He is also a fellow of the International College of Dentists. He has mentored over 20 students and several young faculty worldwide.
Wow. That's a lot of work. So I'm going to start my question this way, Prof.
Yeah.
Because that was what was going on in my mind as I was listening to that bow. People generally, they are guided, their actions, their attitude is being guided by what they want to become, who they project they want to become. How did you get here? That's a long journey. How did you get here?
It is. If I just use one word, I say I never gave up. So if that's one word. Well, let me put it in perspective so that people will understand that, because this just didn't happen overnight. It happened because, one, I started with the grace of God. I had grace. God guided me and helped me with my path and gave me the path. I had people and those people are called mentors that believed in me, gave me their time, support, network. And I had family that gave me this quality of life, the social balance. And I had me. I
Yes.
wanted to succeed. So I was pushing and I kept pushing. And because I pushed, those people I mentioned, mentors, family, and everybody around me were able to help me. Because
Mm.
you say Omotoba Shikwa
Yeah, my
and young me. So I was pushing and it was easy for them to pull me. So and because
yes.
I never gave up, I wanted to succeed. And average for me was never enough.
Mm.
Every achievement was a step. So as soon as I
Yes.
get there, I want to take the next step. So
Yes.
so I was using my achievements as layers. And I was
Mm.
building those blocks and I kept going. And
Mm.
that's how I got to where I am. And I'm still not there yet. I'm still on a journey. That's not the destination. So in a nutshell, that's me. And that's how I achieved those things. Their achievement, well, for me, they were lessons that turned out to be a good story.
Mm.
So each of those came with their own lessons. So those lessons to put together, I prefer to call them a story because the stories have highlights, they have time points, um, there's a script in the story and all that. So everything put together. So you just listen to my story. I wouldn't call them just achievements.
Mm. Prof, are you working on any book towards that story?
Yes, I am. I'm actually writing my bio. I wanted to get my bio ready before I was 40, but I realized I still had so many things that were coming, and I didn't want to publish 2 books. I wanted to have just one bio. So I waited. Okay, maybe I'll get it ready for my 45th birthday. But you know, but now I'm hoping if God gives me the grace and the life, by the time I turn 50, I would publish my own biography, which is titled "From Dundee with Love: Life of a Dental Scientist." Which when you use the word life, I'm talking about the story of me
Mm.
as a dental scientist and how I became a dental scientist. But within the story are different chapters that tells you who I am in terms of my academics, family, my interest in business, my interest in building people, mentoring, which is a huge part of what I'm engaged with. So every chapter in that book has got those information. That book is going to be what I call a wine taster. You won't get the full story, but you get the highlights that will give enough to understand who I am and why I do what I do. So hopefully, by the grace of God, I should get my biography published and for the world to read in the next few years. Thanks for asking.
Thank you, Prof. We really appreciate you coming again. Let me continue from the mentoring. Mentoring comes for you easily, and what was the inspiration behind that? Because there's this thing you always tell us that pay it forward, pay it forward. So was that the influence of your dad or your mentors? Or let us know.
Okay, good. So when I use the word pay it forward, because that was the same thing I was told, and I dug into the meaning of paying it forward, which means do the same for others, right? And then coming back to the other side of the question, the other half of your question, my first mentor was my father. My father taught me about time management. My father taught me about outcome. Everything I do, since I've known you, if you notice, I always think about the outcome.
Yes.
Then I work on the process to get to
Yes.
that outcome. That's my father for you.
Mm.
My father taught me leadership. And fortunately for me, I was the first son, and I quickly understood my place in the family. I was the third
Mm.
child,
Mm.
but the first son. I had 2 sisters ahead of me, but my father gave me that responsibility at a very young age. He was always telling me, this is what you're going to do. This is what I think you should do, but think about it. I was talking to my father as if I was talking to my friend. So he was my first mentor. We had times that we argued on the point, and he was doing it deliberately. He wanted me to be able to marshal my point. So I didn't just listen and take it and go do it. He wanted me to give him a reason why I should or I shouldn't do it. So he gave me an opportunity, he listened, and I learned to listen from my father as well. And fortunately, in school, I always had a teacher that was interested in me, whether in elementary school, high school, and even in university. I had for professors that were calling me their son, and I called them mentors. They were providing me the social support. There was the first person that called me professor was my father. And that was at a very young age in 1989, I believe. And the second person was a professor in my school. Well, then I was in semi-finals, which is part 4 in medical school. And she said, Professor Butali, I'm the professor. You know, she mentioned it. But at the time, it wasn't clear to me when my father called me that and then my faculty professor called me that. But as I continued, I realized that they had seen something that was not clear to me at the time. Fortunately for me, during my youth internship, I had a mentor, late Professor Bakari, who took an interest in me just like that, and he taught me the clinical aspect of dental practice. I was able to do things that surgeons could do, at least to an extent, not completely as a surgeon, but I was participating in surgeries. So Dr. Bakari took me, the late Dr. Bakari took me and taught me all those skills. I was able to fix fractures and all that. These are skills that they don't allow you to even obtain at that level. My mentor gave me the opportunity. I went on to youth service and I was serving in a private clinic. The owner of the clinic is a dentist and he took me on again. We sit down every week and he was telling me stories of how he became who he was and his challenges and all that. That's mentorship, because a mentor tells you what they've experienced, not what they think can happen sometimes. What they experience. So I was learning from experience. I mean, I wasn't starting from point zero. I was starting from another layer. So I learned that. I got that mentorship during service. After service, I went into private practice and I found another mentor who is an ophthalmologist, Dr. Alimi. She took me as a younger brother and she taught me empathy. She taught me empathy, how to, look out for others and all that. And because she didn't sit me down and was telling me this is empathy. It was the way she acted towards me and towards people around her. I learned that from her. Then after 5 years in practice, clinical practice, I went to Scotland for my PhD and I met my mentor, Peter Mossey. Peter took me in as a younger brother, as a son. And Peter opened the world to me, for me to see. Gave me opportunities to do research, network, met people, took me around the world, and that's how I met Jeff Murray, and I came to the US. And Jeff was a wonderful mentor, and Jeff told me from the first day we met that you're on track to becoming a professor. This is how you're going to work with me, and I'll work with you. And the rest is now history. And through Jeff, I was able to go around the world, give talks and all that. During one of my presentation in Hawaii, I met Dr. Adeyemo, who now became a mentor. So you can see that every point in life, there was someone there that I will listen to, that I will look at the way they do things. And so you cannot overemphasize the role of mentors. And I have taken advantage. Sometimes people don't take advantage. I have taken advantage of all these opportunities, from my father to my professors to my mentors in grad school, in youth service, internship, and postdoc. And even as a faculty, I still have mentors. Even as a family man, I have people I call to discuss issues that I don't have experience in managing. I open myself to lifelong learning. I read a lot. I open books. I learn from others. So it's a lot. I don't know, because of time, but I've deliberately touched on all this so that people will know that at every point in your life, there's always a mentor that you can take advantage of and work with to achieve that next step. And most of them are still there for me. Some people just walk away from their mentor when they get what they need, but not in my own case. I have continued this relationship up until if God wills.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much. I have a lot of questions that was coming for me from what you said last, but I'm going to back up a bit and I'll come back to it. When it comes to Because one of the reasons why a lot of people actually find it difficult to have success in life is because they don't have someone guiding them. However, it all starts from their space of identity. That's the adolescent stage, the stage of identity versus confusion. Now, your dad of blessed memory was a wealthy man, and you have all the opportunity to do every wrong that you would have loved to do. Why did you choose this path? Because I'm seeing, I want you to address a young person out there right now who feels, because you took advantage of every opportunity, but there's someone out there who has all this opportunity but never take advantage of it, but rather chose the path of drug, alcohol, and all that. Why did you choose this path despite the opportunity for you to be bad in court if you want to?
Okay, I think at this point, let me talk about my mom, who was a disciplinarian and outlined what vices were at a young age. So I knew what those vices were in the society, and my mom had already outlined them. And my mom was someone, because my dad was wealthy and he was also polygamous. So we had other wives, but he treated each woman as special and every child as special. So my mom also now looked at our own kids and asked herself, what outcome does she desire, or would she like her kids to have? So she was a very strong disciplinarian. She was there, she was available for me. And let me just share this. I had to redo fifth grade because my mom wasn't satisfied. My father was okay if I was promoted on trial, but my mom said no, that I could do better than that, and she stuck to her guns. It was the worst thing that could happen to a young boy that was, I think, 10 years old, 10 at the time. I was asked to lose a class, and your peers were going to the next class. But my mom said no. So what she did was, she knew I had too much time. I was playful. She took me after school to a lesson where I had to take a bus, which was about 15, 20 minutes drive bus. So I was out of the environment that kept me too playful. So after school, I was going to that lesson. And when I got to that lesson, I met kids that were 1 year younger than me. They were doing great stuff. And I was like, really? And I buckled up and I never looked back. And after I got my reading back, my mom never left me as well. She maintained that discipline. And she kept reminding me that I was better than each stage I thought I was. And I kept going. Now, because I knew those vices as a young boy, so that's why it's good for parents to have an interaction with their kids. No kid is too young to listen. And if you continue saying the same thing over time, as soon as that person is able to, that your child is able to speak, it will become part of them. And I do the same thing for my kids. I have one mission every morning. I tell my wife I prefer driving my kids to school. My kids never take school bus. People can allow kids to take school bus if they can, if they're not able to drive by themselves. But for me, I use the opportunity to engage my kids as well. And everything my parents, my father and my mother were telling me is what I tell my kids. And we have this conversation. And do you know what that does for them, for me, and what it did for me back then? It made me aware, and I got scared of engaging in those vices. I had friends that could smoke cigarettes in high school. They could drink alcohol. They could go to a brothel and all that. But I didn't do any of this because I was scared because of what I was told at home. So the first time I went to a party, I was like, I have to go to a party, was when I finished my senior secondary school. That was the first time I stepped into a party, as in having a party, that stayed into the night, maybe past 12 o'clock. That was the first time. And even me, I was embarrassed because I felt I was in trouble. I came back home, I snuck back, I wanted to do what other boys did, but I never smoked, I never drank, I never, went into all those vices because of what my parents had told me. So that thing was always ringing in my mind. it got to a point when I was even in medical school, before every exam, because I wanted to ensure that my outcome was good enough for my parents, I was even crying. I was always emotional about taking an exam because I wanted the best outcome. That's, that's a reminder to me that there are people, I had parents back home that were looking up to me. So I already had a mindset of the outcome of being on the right side. I've never fought in public. I was never called out on assembly ground in school. No, they never invited my parents. So it was like a joke. My mom was cracking a joke recently, like, nobody has ever called me that Azeez, you made trouble as a kid. I don't even know how you did it. Even her herself, she was surprised. And for me, those were, they tell you something. Another thing is for you yourself to listen and try and apply them. So for every young boy listening out there, it gives you nothing to get into trouble, to commit crime, or to get into those vices. You can even decide how you want to be in the next few years. God help you and all that. But self-awareness is extremely important. And nobody in this world that cannot succeed. Success is in your mind. And how far you can go depends on how well you're ready to do what you determine to do. So going into vices, it's not going to help you. Sometimes people change. I don't condemn people when they find themselves in that era. So I try to forgive. I don't try to judge.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you realize that it's the wrong path, quickly change and take advantage of being on the right track, because you can always succeed. The only time you cannot succeed is when you're dead. So it's never too late. So I'm not holier than thou, but I tried as much as possible to look out for the best outcome. And that has helped me up until now. And I try to pass that to anybody that I've encountered. So I don't know if that answered your question, but I took a long route because I wanted to make it clear and to people.
Yeah, thank you